Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to the Student Pathway to Permanent Residency in Canada seminar by iConnect Global Immigration. This afternoon, I have the honor of introducing to you our speaker. She is the Managing Director of iConnect Global Immigration, Inc., based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, specifically located in the city of Surrey. She, like all of you here, also has a dream of going to Canada and eventually calling it her home. Now a Canadian citizen and a registered immigration consultant, she wanted to pay it forward by helping fellow Filipinos who have the same dream that she had in the early 2000s. She began her career in Canada as a recruitment professional with an organization that helped her become a permanent resident of Canada through the provincial nominee program. She successfully launched the healthcare division of this recruiting firm and has placed hundreds of medical professionals within Canada and across the globe. She now owns and manages her own recruitment company, Highly Global Recruiting, and continues to help companies, healthcare and otherwise, fill important positions in their organizations. She has received numerous recognitions for her contribution in solving staffing needs of her local and international clients. iConnect Global Immigration was born out of her desire to put more meaning into her professional career. She wanted to change people's lives, as she would always say. As a registered Canadian immigration consultant, that's exactly what she has done and continues to do so. Her reputation in the industry is stellar and is highly respected in the Filipino-Canadian community in Vancouver. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you our speaker for this afternoon, registered Canadian immigration consultant, Ria Indusel Abesanes.
Thank you, that was very formal. Most of you I know, I think. So, you probably came here because you know some people I know. So it's a very close-knit audience, and I'm very happy about that, right? Like I have a daughter of one of my high school classmates here. I have a few of my coworkers here before when I was back in the 90s, and thank you very much for coming. So, we wanted to wait for a few more people, but we have to start. We respect your time, and we said 1 o'clock. So here we are at 1:30, just starting. And we're sorry about that. Okay, so thanks for your introduction, and thanks guys for coming. And since you're here early, we have some more car passes, right? Who has a car that they park in the parking lot? We can probably give you a car pass, so you don't have to pay for parking. Here, another one. Oh, and what's your name again, dear? Mikhail. All right. So welcome to our seminar about the student pathway. So some of you here, you probably have heard about the student pathway. Who has somehow have an idea about the student pathway? Yeah, a few of you. Okay, all right. So, the objective today is for you to know more about it. So, okay, here we go. Let's start. Okay, let me introduce the company first. The person who introduced me as the person that I wanted to introduce the company to you. The company is actually, as he said, was born out of my, desire to help more Filipinos to come to Canada. I came to Canada through the provincial nominee program that was in 2008. But now there's a student pathway that is more short, for for Filipinos like you, like younger or older, it's still a pathway that's possible for you guys to take advantage of. But now, that's why we wanted to really, explain that today. We have helped a lot of people, not just through the student pathway, but workers. We've helped families reunite. But essentially, iConnect Global is a consulting organization that helps people from all over the world, not just the Philippines, to come to Canada. Right? We are a member of the Canadian Association of Professional Immigration Consultants. It's called KPIC. KPIC is the organization that makes sure that we know what we're doing. The KPIC makes sure that we have the hours we put in, educational hours that we put in, so that we're up to date with the trends on immigration. And we are also regulated by the Canadian Immigration of Citizenship Consultants. This is the regulatory body that licenses us, or myself, to become an immigration consultant. So I think, in the Philippines, there are a lot of issues about legitimacy and authenticity of immigration consultants. That's why I'd like to address this right off the bat, that we are licensed through the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants. For you to be able to know if the consultant you're dealing with is legitimate, go to this website. It's CICC, right? When you go to that website, you will find a drop down that says find an immigration consultant. You have to write the name of that person there. If you find the name of that person, then, and they're active, go for it, work with that person. But if you don't find the name of that person, or you found the name of that person and it says they're suspended, or they're on disciplinary action, then there's something questionable about that person. All right. Okay, who am I? Again, well, to recap, as Sammy's. I have I'd say Google me, because I do have a very good online presence. If you Google that name, you'll find both my companies, the Island Global Immigration. Island Global Recruiting is a recruitment organization. That's how I started in Canada. Actually, no, recruitment is how I started in Canada, but I put up my company 6 years later, and I connect global immigration also after that. And as I said earlier, my whys are, I fell in love with immigration when I immigrated myself, right? It's something that I wanted to do to help people, but you do have to study to become an immigration consultant. And when I got the chance, I did that, and I'm very happy about the step that step that I made. Getting my license to become an immigration consultant. Okay, today we want to discuss a few things that's very important to you, that you're very interested in. But first, I want to know what you want to hear today. What you want to know is there just anybody? What is it that you're expecting in today's seminar? Anybody? Just something. The microphones are working. What is it that you're expecting to know today? Gina?
Put you on the spot.
What is it about the study pathway? What is it that you're expecting to know? Oh, okay, yeah.
I will start my application today. How soon can it go?
Sure. Yeah, so the timeline, right? You want to know the timeline. Yes, you also get a water bottle if you ask a question. Yeah, you do have a question. What are the qualifications? Qualifications? Yeah, sure. Yeah, just the timeline. What else? What else do you want to know? Anything?
Show money.
Show money? Yes. How much is the show money? We call it proof of funds, actually. Yes, we will talk about that. Hers was, yeah, number two. Okay, next is qualifications. Anything else? Yes.
There are age limit.
Age limit. Good question. Anything else? Processing fees? Yes, processing fees. Anything else? We would definitely want to address all of these questions today. And, okay, so these are the things that we will discuss. The reasons why you should study in Canada. Step-by-step guide for you, for international students, how to go about it. And the common reasons for student visa rejection, your PR options after completing your program, and why you should work with us. And we do have special offers for today's attendees. And this I just added, okay? We are going to raffle off one free iConnect Global professional fee for somebody who is a lucky winner today. Okay, you will get that for free. Okay. Why study in Canada? Why did you even think about studying in Canada? Why? What's your reason? Why do you want to study in Canada? No? You don't want to study in Canada?
Better opportunities.
Yeah, opportunities, yes. All right, let me discuss the reasons why you should study in Canada. Okay. You see a lot of rankings about Canada being number one in quality of life, being, it's beautiful in Canada, but you know what we really want to discuss today is our own experience as to why we think you should study in Canada, or you should even consider living there, right? I work in the recruitment industry as well. I have ILE Global Recruiting as one of my companies. So I know the job market. A lot of people, or a lot of companies are looking for people. Qualified people, right? Not just warm bodies, qualified people. So if you're skilled, if you have, if you're motivated, you will find a job in Canada, right? There are a lot of jobs in Canada. Okay, whether you're in an entry-level position, mid-management position, executive position, you will have an opportunity in Canada. Okay? And what else? It's economically stable. What happened here during the pandemic? Right? It was so bad, right? A lot of businesses actually closed down. A lot of you guys, some of you probably lost your jobs. Well, the same thing happened with Canada, but we didn't feel that at all. You know why? Because the government supported us. The government gave us 2,000 Canadian dollars per month for the 7 consecutive months at the height of the pandemic to support us with our, expenses, mortgage. Some of the benefits that they also gave us was if you're paying for a mortgage during the pandemic, they gave you a mortgage break. You didn't have to pay for your mortgage for 6 months. Where can you find that, right? So it's just amazing. I mean, I cannot stress that enough, how amazing Canada is. Politically stable, yes, we don't have, a Trump in Canada. Aside from our Prime Minister being very good looking, Mr. Justin Trudeau. He's very also a very stable person. Well-developed healthcare system. Um, I am definitely one of the, what, proof that, the healthcare system is great in Canada. I had an accident in 2020. I broke my ankle. I did break my ankle. I had to go through surgery. They call it pilot fracture surgery. I now have 2 plates and 3 screws in my right ankle, but I didn't pay for a single dime for it because that's just how healthcare is in Canada. That's part of their benefits as a PR, or no, even as a student, as a worker, or as a PR. You do get those benefits. Okay. And also, one of our team members here, his father, went through a quadruple bypass, and he did not pay for anything. So here, just imagine what that would cost, if that ever happened to you or your family member. You're probably going to lose everything, right? Excellent education system. In Canada, we have, I'm just mentioning 5 of the best universities in Canada out of the 1,400 universities around the world. 5 of them rank on the top at, McGill University 31st, University of Toronto at 34th, University of British Columbia, where my daughter graduated, at 47, University of Alberta at 110, and University of Montreal at 160. So just some of them, right? But, they do give education great importance in Canada. What else? Affordable course fee and living costs. You probably have, if you've done some research, you probably have compared Canada with Australia or the US. Canada is still the more affordable compared to these 2 other countries in terms of tuition fees and cost of living. Well, cost of living varies depending on the province. Vancouver is relatively more expensive than Alberta, and other countries, as other provinces such as Saskatchewan or Manitoba. But it's just depending on where you want to live, basically. So it can be expensive in Vancouver. I can't deny that. That's where we are, and we know that it's very expensive. Oh, sorry. When you study in Canada, you also get to work. Okay, while you're a student, you get to work part-time, 20 hours a week. But right now, there's a public policy that you can work more than 20 hours a week as a student, for as long as you can manage your time. Right? So that's also one of the advantages for us Filipinos, because we're not used to that. Studying and working at the same time, but it's great character building. I think it's best for our kids, right? That they study and work at the same time. And of course, you can take your family with you. If you have younger kids, you can take your kids with you, and your husband or your wife and your mom-in-law partner. If you're a student, your husband can work with an open work permit. Then then you can all help each other out with the expenses involved in the study program. Do you have a question about that? No? That's clear? Students also, when you finish school, you get the chance to apply for a postgraduate work permit. A postgraduate work permit means that you get an opportunity to work anywhere, okay? It's an open work permit, and the experience that you will garner from this work permit opportunity is what you can use to apply for permanent residency, right? That's it can be a little complicated, but I'll try and be simple in explaining that later on. All right. Okay, lastly, why Canada? I'd like to show you for us why Canada, right? Because Canada is beautiful. I'd like to show you our own pictures of what we do in Canada in our spare time, right? The picture on top, that is just actually, what, 2 hours away from Vancouver? Yeah? Mountains, lakes. This is just a ferry ride away. This is just 1 hour away. So you can really take advantage of all of the nature, of not just, you know, the government systems, but nature in itself, right? We have the cleanest air in Canada. This is in Alberta, right? There. Look at how beautiful it is. And whether it's summer or winter, you have things to do in Canada, and that's just one of the reasons why we want to encourage you to come to Canada. Welcome. All right, and of course, ultimately, you want to get this, right? You want to get the Canadian passport. That's what we want. That's what we all want, right? So that's the ultimate goal for everybody. Okay, are we good to continue, or do you want to take a break? Okay, I guess let's just continue. Okay. The next few slides will tell you more about what you need to do. Right? A lot of you probably have studying Canada in mind, but you don't know where to start. So here's the step-by-step process that you need to take. First, what do you want to study? That's the first thing that you need to figure out, right? If you're a high school graduate, then you're most probably looking for a bachelor degree, right? Or a certificate program, or a diploma, or a 2-year diploma, a 3-year diploma. If you're already a college graduate or a university graduate here in the Philippines, you'll probably take up a 1-year certificate after that, or a postgraduate degree, an MBA. It really depends, right? And there are also some post-degree programs that may or may not be related to what you studied before, but at the end of the day, your program has to make sense to your profile, and that's we'll discuss that later on, more about that. Okay, and secondly, you have to explore how you want to finance your studies in Canada. It's not cheap, right? And I think everyone knows that. It's not cheap, but I will also give you a breakdown of the costs. And I want to tell everybody that you have to be ready for the expenses. You cannot tell yourself that, okay, I will get my study permit, and I'll be able to wing it over there, because I will work anyways. I mean, you have to really have a plan, as to how you will finance your studies in Canada. Okay, so this is an estimate of the expenses that you can expect, right? In Canadian and roughly in Philippine pesos. Tuition fees per year is about $600 to 800 uh, Philippine pesos per year. Okay, so if you're studying a 2-year program, then, just times 2, and then 3 years, you do the math, right? And living expenses per year per person is around 13,000 Canadian dollars, around $500,000 pesos. But if you're planning on bringing your common law partner or your spouse, you just add on another 4,000 to that. So that's how much you need to prepare. And for application fees and the biometrics, medical, and plane fare, that's pretty much what it costs, right? And there was a question about the proof of funds or show money. In your show money, this is what you need to prepare. The bank statement has to have this amount, at least. So that's around 1.5 million. Yeah, 1.2, 1.5 million if you're one person. But if you're 2 people, then just add on to that, right? Questions about that? Oh yes. Yes, they are. They are. You just have to apply for it, right? So, and usually you have to get accepted first before they even entertain your scholarship application. But some schools, to attract international students, they actually offer scholarships right off the bat. So, yeah, you probably, when you start exploring your options, look for schools that offer scholarships right away. Okay. Step 3, shortlist your universities, right? Universities are colleges, right? But of course, you have to make sure if you want to eventually become a permanent resident, don't enroll in schools that are private because they won't offer you postgraduate work permit. Okay, that's very important. You have to take note of that. Unless, this school offers a bachelor degree or a PhD or a master's degree. Okay? So your designated learning institution, for them to be able to issue postgraduate work permits, they have to be public or they have to offer degrees. Okay? A lot of people make that mistake. They think that, I'm already in Canada, after this I will get an open work permit, only to find out their schools don't offer that, right? So you have to be very careful. And, university application. So some schools require IELTS, some don't, but a lot of the bigger universities, they require IELTS or the English test, so you also have to make sure that yours of the requirements of the school that you want to apply to. And other requirements based on the program. What do I mean by this? Like if you're applying to an architecture program, then they probably would need some of your drawings, right, to accept you into the program. Because some programs are very competitive, especially your international students. You have to compete with other countries too, right? So you have to give your best foot forward. So, and what else? If you're applying to a journalism program, then they're probably needing to see your sample writing. Or if you're a graphic design student, then you probably need to see your drawings. So that's just what I mean about other requirements for the program. It takes about 4 to 12 weeks on the average for you to get your letter of acceptance at a school, so you need to start early in applying the school that you want. Now, if they accept you, it's not automatic that you get accepted to the school. You get an offer letter, but you only get the confirmation or the letter of acceptance if you pay for the deposit, which is usually around $3,000 to $5,018. Okay. When you get your offer letter, you make sure that you look at the deadline. Kailan ba kailangan bayaran my deposit? Because after you pay the deposit, that's when you get your letter of acceptance, which is what you will use to apply for your student visa. Okay? These are the basic requirements These are the basic requirements for the student visa application. Your passport for sure, your LOA or the letter of acceptance that I was talking about earlier, and the bank certificate or the bank statements that show that you do have the money, that you do have enough money to finance your studies. And if you're under 17, you need a custodian declaration. And if you're in Quebec, you need the CAQ or the Quebec acceptance certificate. All right, and then after submitting your application for the student visa, you will get a letter from IRCC asking you to do your biometrics or your fingerprinting and your pictures. You'll get that in your portal, and you also need to make an appointment with a panel physician for your medical exam. After those things, you just need to wait, right? Keep yourselves busy. A lot of people, they worry a lot while waiting, right? The worrying does not change the outcome, right? So just wait, okay? Make sure that you keep yourself busy and understand that it takes about 4 to 13 weeks for IRCC to approve or deny your request for a student visa. Now, one of the things that Canada gives Philippine citizens is a privilege to apply to the study direct stream, where you actually get an opportunity to do the fast track. You only need 20 days. Well, they say it takes up to 20 days to get this approved, your study permit. So, but with that, you have to buy in advance a GIC or a guaranteed investment certificate, and you pay for a full year of tuition. So that's kind of the caveat to that. So some cannot do that, but if you can, then it may be a good thing for you. Now, if you get approved, the next step is to check on your accommodation options and where to live. Okay? Usually, you ask the school. The school has recommendations also for where they want their students to live or where they suggest their students to live. You can ask your friends or acquaintances to help you find a place to stay. Or also, there are settlement organizations depending on the community where you want to stay. Right? And there are also a lot of Facebook groups, for rental options wherever your school is. And with iConnect, we do connect our new clients with mentors, so that it's easier for you to integrate into the new community that where you will be staying. So I'll explain more about that later. And then, of course, step 9 is prepare for departure and arrival in Canada. So buy your tickets, you start packing. So of course, what are the essentials? If you're coming in September, it's rainy, it's fall. Okay, what do you need to bring with you? Raincoat, boots, like waterproof boots. So make sure that you have all of these, right? That you are cognizant about the weather and where you will be staying and So, upon arrival in Canada, you do have your passport with you with the student visa. Okay, that's the counterfoil. That's the sticker stuck in your passport. That's your student visa. That's not your study permit. I have to explain that because when you get to Canada, you go through immigration. Okay, they ask you questions. Okay, you have to be careful about answering those questions because there's a chance that you may not get through immigration if you don't answer the questions correctly. Canada student visa falls under the temporary resident category, visa category, which means that the assumption of immigration officers is that you will go back to your home country after studies, right? So some student visa holders, when they go through immigration, they tell the immigration officer, no, I'm staying here, I want to become a permanent resident. You don't say that at the port of entry because, they are letting you in as a student, right? Even if you do have that objective at the back of your head that you're staying as a permanent resident, you don't announce that to the immigration officer because, that's not what you came to. You came to Canada for. You came to Canada as a student. That's what you need to keep in mind in answering the questions at the port of entry. Okay? Now, when you're successful in answering those questions, you get your study permit. That's a paper that the immigration officer gives you, and tells you, okay, these tells you for how long you can stay, what the conditions of your study permits are, and you have to follow those conditions. Okay, is that clear about the difference between the study visa and the study permit? Yes. No questions. Okay. Now, if your student visa gets rejected, that's the sad part, right? Now, a lot of people ask, some have come to me when rejected visas before, and they ask me, what did I do wrong? Right? So here are the common reasons for student visa rejection. Earlier I told you have to plan your finances, or how to finance your studies very well, because it is not easy, to just wing it when you get there in Canada, right? So you have to have enough money. I already told you how much that costs, right? So if in your application you were not able to show them that you do have that much money, or that your money came in bulk, this is really not your money, right? So that has happened before. That's why Canada would like to see bank statements, right? The history of the money, where it actually came from. If it's a bulk deposit prior to you getting your certificate, that's a red flag, right? Program of choice. I did mention before that when choosing your program, it has to make sense to your profile, right? Now, I'm not saying that, if you studied as a nurse here, there's no way for you to, actually veer away from nursing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you have to be able to explain that properly in your letter of explanation, which I will explain later. It just has to make sense. Like, if you already have a bachelor degree, right? In, let's say, architecture or journalism, and you want to take another bachelor degree in journalism or something related to it. That doesn't make sense. Because why? Why would you do that? It's very similar. You probably want to take a post-degree course in creative writing, right? You just have to, be able to balance that out and be able to explain why you want to study what you want to study. Weak ties to home country. Again, it's study visas are temporary resident visas. Okay, that falls under that. So you do have to be able to explain to the officer that, hey, I have reason to go back to the Philippines, and here they are. So you have to present them. Okay, that's what it means about ties to your home country. Your reason to go back to the Philippines. Did you have any questions about ties? No? Okay. Strong ties in Canada. You have a sister, or you have parents living in Canada. Okay? Those are strong ties. Those definitely mean, or some, most likely would mean that, okay, I wouldn't go back anymore to the Philippines because, I have a strong support system in Canada. So how do you explain that? You explain that with the letter of explanation as well. Lack of travel history. They also want to know, okay, what's your history about, obeying or complying with immigration laws of different countries? Have you been to other countries at all or not? So, well, sometimes it's the reason for rejection, but we do have ways to counter adapt this particular visa rejection reason. Minimal employment prospects in your home country. So in your letter of explanation, you also need to explain what's your plan after studies. Okay, if you're taking a master's degree in business, you probably would like to explain, okay, this is the business I want to put up, or this is where it's going to happen, or these are the products I want to sell. You have to be very specific about your plan after studies. Okay. Do we need a break? Yeah, okay, yeah, let's probably do a 10-minute break just for coffee and just some refreshments, okay? We'll continue with your options to become PR in Canada.